You expected something about logistics, not about aviation. Sorry if I disappointed you. Don't worry, in the next few minutes I'll take you on a journey that leads from a blacksmith shop via intralogistics to aviation. My name is Sven Lindig, I'm 48 years old and I still have 4 children. The 5th could come at any moment, so I'll hurry up. This is my grandfather, great-grandfather, a blacksmith, and he founded our family business in 1899 in Eisenach, near the geographical center of Germany. My father, Manfred Lindig, was the 3rd generation. After the peaceful revolution in the GDR, in which my family and I participated in our small town, our family business had to reorient itself. We were uncertain, but made a right decision. As an 18-year-old car fanatic, I would have preferred to see a car dealership as our new field of activity and myself in the newest cars. But I agreed to deal with forklift trucks in the future. I was enthusiastic about the Lindig brand from day one. And because I'm often asked, the similarity between the names Linde and Lindig is purely coincidental. We started with a handful of colleagues, no knowledge of forklift trucks, no knowledge of the new economic system. But it turned out great, and when I came back after my business studies, there were already 50 employees. Today, there are 350 in the core business around forklift trucks and working platforms. In the picture, you can see our headquarters near Eisenach. Here you can see not only Linde forklift trucks, but for more than 15 years, we also been a rental company for work platforms and the Systemlift network. We see ourselves not only as a dealer of a successful forklift brand, but also as an innovator. In order to not only to supply the increasingly electrically powered forklifts, but also to ensure sustainable energy, in 2016 we were the first supplier in our industry to enter into an energy partnership in the form of a shareholding in Maxilla and Energy. This was followed a short time later by the initial investment in GridX, a now very successful German startup that provides intelligent infrastructure for the energy transition. After several years of preparation through joint development work, we are the exclusive sales partner for the startup Wiferion since 2020 and are establishing wireless charging on our devices. Here you can see the Max truck, the Swiss Army knife among forklift trucks, so to speak. I became aware of this Swedish product at the beginning of 2016 because I was sent a video of the all-rounder and was completely fascinated. Apparently, it was still a young product that did not yet have a distributor in Germany. I contacted them and we quickly came to an agreement. We became distributor for Germany and sold a few units. The next round of financing at the Swedish startup was coming up and we also went in as an investor. I was pleased with the step of no longer being just a dealer, but now having a stake in a truck manufacturer. But the joy did not last long. Globally, we were the only distributor with sales success. Financial bottlenecks followed, and finally the insolvency. I lost money and told the story also at a fuck-up night. Since this is a serious event, I avoid this name, but briefly share my findings with you to avoid your own mistakes. First, don't get too seduced by the technical genius of a product. It's a long way from the gleam in the eyes of a potential customer to the investment in such a product. Second, do not underestimate the financial and time effort that lies between a functional and apparently saleable prototype and an industrialized series product. Third, if the structures of a company are too weak and your advice is not implemented, this will not automatically change if you provide financial support and become a shareholder. Insolvencies can therefore be tragic, but sometimes they also offer opportunities. In February 2015, I learned that a new building complex at Eisenach Airfield was for sale because the Chinese joint venture Hilly Park had failed. Due to our growth, I was looking for expansion possibilities. However, there was a requirement that the buyer has to use the buildings for aviation projects. I went looking, and I found not just any project, but an extraordinary one. Here you can see the design for the Horten HX2, a flying wing aircraft. It's without a classical tail unit and the cabin is shaped like a wing. With these two features, flying wing aircraft are 20% more efficient than classic aircraft. We built the Horten from 2016 and had our successful first flight in summer 2018. In 2019, the HX2 flew to Friedrichshafen and was presented at the Aero Fair. The response from the public and the media was overwhelming. We ended up on many front pages and even CNN reported. I soon realized that it was difficult to become successful with such a single project. So we bundled several aviation projects under the umbrella brand Lift Air. The most important decision was to invest in flight design, an established manufacturer of light aircraft, which has already brought about 2,000 aircraft into the market. Here you can see the new development F2, which we have equipped with an electric drive in 2019 with Siemens. Later, this part of Siemens was sold to Rolls-Royce. Here you can see a little video. I'm glad that now with the brand new F2 that we have electrified together with Siemens, we take a first step into this future mobility.
Siemens provides a complete electric drive system to flight design, which includes an SP55 permanent magnetic synchronous motor, an inverter, a complete battery system, and a control system.
The flight design F2 is a new two-seater aircraft, a high wing with a wingspan of 9.2 meters and with an integrated safety cells. Safety first, we've got a Vision Zero at flight design. I'm father of 4 children, and I think it's important to create a future mobility without any emissions. Our latest project is the Green Aviation Accelerator by Lift Air. Here we offer both startups and established companies a companion into the world of aviation, an ecosystem to settle and cooperate with an emerging partner network. Do you see potential applications for your products in the emerging future market of air mobility? Then Eisenach is the right place for you. But we are not only working on our own projects, from cargo drones to aircraft. We are also working on a vision for future mobility in the third dimensions, which not only relies on vertical takeoff vehicles, so-called eVTOLs, to get people from A to B in the future. The vertical takeoff consumes a lot of energy, which automatically reduces the range. For example, Forbes magazine reports that the Lilium jet consumes as much energy for the takeoff of its 5-seater as a Boeing 787. That is why we also rely on conventional takeoffs and landings using the existing infrastructure. We have more than 400 commercial and special landing sites in Germany, most of which are located at the gates of small, medium, and large cities. There will continue to be a need for mobility on medium-haul roads, and if we intelligently connect these airfields with each other and with the surrounding cities, we will not only have railway stations and international airports in the future, but also these mobility centers. We are a medium-sized company, a traditional family business, but we are also a startup, investor, and innovator. I draw an analogy with boxing. To become a champion, you also get quite a few black eyes. Don't be afraid of that, whether you are an investor, a startup, or a medium-sized company. I am happy if this little insight into our journey inspires you, and if you continue to follow me and us on LinkedIn or the other channels. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is a great presentation. I just have goosebumps of all the visions you just showed us, I would be really happy if you could just answer us some questions, and I would also ask all other participants to join in the chat if they have, I'm pretty sure, questions on to you. So please feel free to post them in the chat. But as I'm the host, I have the advantage to be the first to ask a question. So you really impressively showed how brave you'd been in investing in a first startup, screw up, and then you just moved on back to your feet and went on in the journey in that still being brave and investing in startups. So what would you advise be to other medium-sized companies, typical Mittelstand? Where should they start with some kind of external developments, external partnerships?
Yeah, there's not the one answer. You can establish new companies. Also, you can think about buying a startup. But I think the worst case would be to buy a startup and try to integrate it into your own structure, because it's an own culture that a startup has, and if you mix it with, for instance, a corporate structure and culture, I think it's not a good idea. You should, if you take this picture from a big tanker and a speedboat, you shouldn't integrate the speedboat into the tanker.
Picture, yeah. So, what would be your advice? Also, should you keep more in your core business, or move a bit to look more just like you did? I mean, forklifts and the projects you're now doing. This is far away from each other, still having to do with logistics. But what would be your advice in that case for medium-sized companies?
Yeah, look, our core business is really stable. So we also had no problem in the past year, because with our forklift trucks, we are in very different industries. And so we also had no problem with, nearly no problem with Corona, fortunately. And if you maximize the risk too much to going into a new industry where you can't calculate risk, so it's important to also keep an eye on your core business, and that's also in our case where the money comes from at the moment. But we're also looking for these future businesses that can develop very good in the future. But it's you need both sides. There's this word now in the last years of ambiguity. I think it's the same in English like in German, Ambiguität, that you need both hands. Also, if you look at new work and the old work, you need both competences.
I see. So we have just a question in the chat, which is how to link to the discussion so far. Do you have colleagues at Lindig share your passion to startups, and how do you engage these employees?
Many of them do, but it's also so that some people are looking, what our money is going into experiments, and shouldn't it be invested in our core business? So also there, it's not black and white, and there are also the color gray is also there. Yeah. So many of them share the passion, but there are also experiments like, for instance, the Max Track that I showed in my keynote. It was a loss of money. It was an experiment, but you don't have knowledge about the things that can happen before, so you have to try it anyway.
Yeah, true. I mean, if you would have can look in the future, you would do things differently. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But what especially from your bad experience, what are now the criteria? How do you, or what do you decide on which startup to invest in, or also to, it's not just investment but also cooperation, co-development. So what are the criteria you look at apart maybe from a technology perspective?
So I've invested quite a lot in the past, and now I'm concentrating on our own new investments. Sorry for all the startups out there. I'm not willing to spend any money for investments, but corporations are interesting anyway, and our focus is intralogistics, energy storage. This is something we need for either the intralogistics and also the aviation, and And I can make an offer, by the way. So at the airport, the airfield, we have this very nice location, and we are building up a little fair, and so if there are startups interested, I can offer them also a small space if these are really interesting things that also giving a view into the future. Nobody is interested in any gearboxes or whatever, but if there's really high tech where you can see the future, these startups are invited. They can contact me via LinkedIn, and they only have to do their own presentation. We give them the space, and I'm interested in getting many deciders through these rooms.
Okay. Thank you for that hint. So all young high-tech enterprises out there feel now that Sven is talking to you, please contact him afterwards. Let's maybe turn the question a bit around, because we now looked always what should a medium-sized company do to start this kind of cooperation. But if you turn that around, why should a young company better start a cooperation with a medium-sized company better than with a corporate? Or where do you see advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah, so I know one case where this also can happen in a SME, but not in a family business. So I know a startup where corporate was invested, and then the people on the board changed. There was a new guy responsible. They changed the strategy, and there was no longer support for a startup. And I think if you work together with a family business, you know the owner. If he's enthusiastic about working together, then it will be more stable than perhaps cooperate with changing people in the board.
Yeah, what we at high-tech Startbahn, I mean, we are working quite a lot with startups, with young high-tech enterprises. Here is that they say we like it better to work with medium-sized companies because the decision ways are much shorter. Yeah. So if you're working with a corporate, sometimes it takes some half a year, 6 months, and maybe you're out of money by that. Do you agree with that?
That's also right. Yeah, we have quick ways for decision. There are not in the pyramid 7 stages in between, and that's another very important advantage of family businesses.
And just reading in the chat another question of Sylvia. Apart from getting videos from solution providers, how do you find startups that match to your challenges? So how do you find them?
Okay, in the past, so I also was visiting some events and have seen many pitches in the past. I also took part. I also was on the pitching stage once with a eVTOL project, and events, and it's a pity that it's not possible to meet each other personally at the moment, but I have the impression you have organized a very good alternative to it. And then sometimes things come to me, people try to contact me, but at the moment I'm very bad at answering LinkedIn messages. I have many of them still to answer, but many things also come to me.
Okay, so this is maybe a take-home message for the young enterprises. Just try to reach out on LinkedIn, or maybe just give you a call and be kind of aggressive in contacting you.
That's not really what I want. So my opinion of networking is to get to know each other. That would be perfect if it's possible. And then not trying to sell in the first mail. So okay, startups perhaps don't have the time building up a long-term relationship. But at the moment, LinkedIn is like a sales channel, and it's a bit too much for me. That's also the other side. So I'm at the moment not able to answer every message, but there are some things that really are interesting me, or where I know the people, where also I'm able to answer them.
Okay, so maybe this kind of event also helps to pre-filter some good opportunities. So let me just come to my last question, because time is running, and which should maybe be kind of an outlook for the future. So where do you see the next big thing arising at the horizon within the, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
If I knew that, the next share purchase would be a safe bet, so to say. I think that we are very good in intralogistics, also here in Europe, but China is very strong, coming very much at the moment as well. But artificial intelligence is for sure one of the future technologies that will come now.
Okay, thank you. We see that as well, yes. So thanks a lot for your talk, and also for our discussion now. So for all participants, still have open questions, and also feel engaged by the offer of Sven Lindig, please contact him in the networking area, because now we move on in our schedule. So again, thank you.